Tactical and practical today and for the next 6 episodes. We're going to be talking about how to split test like a pro. We're going to talk about its effective on site split testing that actually leads to bottom line growth, not just metrics that don't pay your bills. I'm doing this whole series in partnership with IntelliGems, and to be honest, it was something I approached them about because I think split testing and creative testing on your website is such a underutilized and underrated and under discussed set of tactics. Everyone on LinkedIn and Twitter wants to talk about media buying for dumb reasons. People are starting to talk more about retention now, which I think is important. But no one's really talking about, for us, what is our biggest performance lever, and that is our merchandising strategy on our website, our pricing strategy, our content strategy on our website are all way higher impact levers that we can pull than anything we can do in the ad account, anything we can do in email and SMS. On-site testing is what has been allowed us to 7x the size of the business in the last couple of years. So that's what we're going to talk about. And first, let me draw the important distinction. We do not call this CRO. We call this PRO. CRO stands for conversion rate optimization, but increasing our conversion rate is not the goal. That might be an outcome. It might not be. But there are all sorts of other inputs that affect your conversion rate that really have nothing to do with how you're growing your business long term. I'm going to give you a couple of examples here. If you wanted me and if you hired me to come, do CRO for you, and you were going to judge me on how well I increased your conversion rate, do you know what I'd do first? I'd stop all of your top of funnel advertising. I would only advertise to super warm audiences. They're going to have a higher conversion rate. The global number will go up. If you want me to increase it some more, I'll cut your entire advertising budget. Then your conversion rate will go way up. If you want me to increase it more, I can run a half off sale, or I can run a BOGO sale. Conversion rate will go up for all these things, but it's hurting your business long term, not actually helping it. So that's why conversion rate is not the North Star metric for our on-site testing strategy. And that's why we stopped calling it CRO, and now we call it PRO. That stands for Profit and Revenue Optimization. So the title of this series is How to Split Test Like a Pro. There's a little because we call it Pro and it's Profit and Revenue Optimization. I think I'm clever. But we call it Profit and Revenue Optimization, and specifically we call it Profit First because that's all we care about. That is all we care about. I think there's a disease that runs deep in e-com of people obsessing over metrics that they can't use to pay their bills. You can't pay salaries with a ROAS. You can't, buy a warehouse with your contribution margin percentage. You cannot book a vacation with your conversion rate. We obsess over all these things, click-through rates and hold rates on ads and, open rates and click-through rates on email. We obsess over all these metrics, and I don't understand why we're not talking about dollars more. We all work for for-profit companies. Can we please talk about dollars? So that's how we judge the success of all of our on-site testing tactics is just the amount of dollars flowing into the business. Now, that's kind of the first misconception I wanted to clear out here, that it's not just about conversion rate, it's about increasing profit and revenue. Secondly, I want to set the expectation that you cannot just test your website for a couple of months, fix some things, and move on. This is an ongoing set of tactics that you should be using over and over and over and over again for infinity. Until AI agents can completely build our store live for every new customer that comes in, you should be testing your website constantly. When I first signed up for an IntelliGems account maybe 2.5, 3 years ago, I had the vision of cool, I'm going to come in, going to test our prices, we're going to test a couple content things, and we're going to be out. But we did that, and we saw the crazy impact that those first round of tests had. And then we got more ideas for tests. Then we got some more ideas for tests, and we ran them, and we ran them, and we ran them. Each one produced a big lift of revenue and profit. And then we revisited some of the first tests we did, and we said, well, hey, that photo worked best as a landing page banner 6 months ago. We know because we tested it, but we think we have some better photos now. Let's test them again, and we beat it again. And then we tested prices again, and prices, the winning price has changed every quarter for 8 quarters in a row now. So I do not want to pitch you on the idea of, you can watch this series once, execute a series of tests, and be out. This is a series that's going to be designed to live on indefinitely. And if you're 6 months, 8 months, 6 years down the road and wondering how can we boost performance to our Shopify store, I want you to be able to come back to this, take something away from what I cover in one of these episodes, apply it to your website, test it, and see what happens. It's like I mentioned earlier, this is now the most important stuff we do. It's what my team spends a large amount of time focusing on. We haven't abandoned, creative testing in our ad account. We haven't abandoned any of our retention tactics. We're doing a ton of stuff with influencers right now. There's a bunch of stuff that makes up a successful e-com brand. But if I had to tell you to pick one to focus on, I would go for the most underrated, underutilized, and most impactful thing, which are the tactics I'm going to cover in this series. Last kind of misconception that I want to touch on here. I said it's not about conversion rate. I want to be very clear. Some of the tests that we've ran have made our conversion rate go down, but more dollars have come into the business. Some of the tests have made our conversion rate go up, but then we spend more on top of funnel advertising and conversion rate comes back down. But because we had that unlock in performance, we were able to scale site sessions and scale ultimately the business further. That's what this is about. This is not about, beating year over year conversion rate. It's not even about beating year over year AOV or, revenue per session. This is about how can we constantly have the most amount of dollars flowing into the business so we can scale, right? The first year that we tested all of this stuff, we did double our site sessions, increased conversion rate, increased AOV, increased RPS. Everything was an increase. That's because we had no on-site testing strategy before that, so it's pretty easy to beat it. This year, conversion rate year over year is down a little bit, but AOV is higher, which means revenue per session is higher, which means profit per session is higher. So again, I've talked to people who are thinking about firing their CRO agency or firing their CRO guy because conversion rate didn't go up. But we cannot just look at one metric. We need to look at how all these things allow you to scale the business profitably. And that's what this whole series is going to be about. So I hope I gave you enough context in this kind of just the intro episode to get your wheels start turning on what you could be testing already. I'm going to give you like a 90-second turn and burn outline of the whole series right now. And then each episode after this will be a deep dive on one of these topics. First, we're going to talk about price testing 101. If you have never tested your prices, shame on you. You are absolutely leaving money on the table. You found product market fit. That's great. You got to find price market fit right now. Number 2, we're going to talk about the most reliable creative testing ground, which is your website. We're going to talk about how to test headlines, copy, videos, banners, CTAs, anything that's creative on your website. It shouldn't just be what looks pretty. It shouldn't just be what sounds nice to you and your team. Every word, every image on your website should play a part in getting someone to purchase. And I'm going to teach you how to test all those things to maximize the dollars flowing into your biz. Number 4 is going to be a deep dive. Number 3 is going to be a deep dive on how to write better copy. We're going to talk about in the previous episode how to test it, but in this episode, we're really going to dig into what makes great, persuasive, revenue-generating copy. I'm excited for that one. That episode could be an hour and a half. I'm going to keep it to like 10 or 15 minutes, but that's going to be a good one for sure. The next one, we're going to talk about creating more profitable acquisition offers. So we're going to touch on price testing again a little bit in there, but we're mainly going to talk about discounts, bundles, price anchoring, and all sorts of offers that you can make sure you are extracting the most out of your acquisition channels. Next, we're going to be talking about how to unlock your best ad traffic destinations. Going to talk about whether sending traffic to a landing page or a product page, or believe it or not, I'm spending quite a bit of money sending people to the homepage right now. We're going to talk about how this can all change seasonally and cyclically, depending on what industry you're in and who your shoppers are. But again, this is one of those things that no one ever thinks about in the ad account. They think, oh, this ad campaign isn't working well anymore. And so, well, the ads might be doing fine, but the page you're sending them to is losing. So that's super important. And finding one win here can increase the performance of like your entire ad account, which is awesome. Couple more things we're going to cover are customizable funnels. You can use personalizations to maximize the performance based on what we know about the customer, based on whether they're a new or returning visitor, based on, the device type they're on, based on which ad they clicked on. You can use all these data points to make sure you're showing them the best on-site experience. A theme in this episode is going to be consistency from the ad to the pop-up, to the website, to the email flow. The closer you can get, synergy in all of those areas, if it's a good, persuasive, revenue-generating message, then lining all of those up and make sure the whole customer journey is connected is going to be insanely profitable for you. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about shipping. A lot of brands like to do the free shipping thing. I have tested it. I have never seen giving free shipping result in more dollars for the business than charging for shipping. So we're going to talk you through how to test it. I know some founders don't like it, but the truth is it just doesn't decrease conversion rate that much. So we're going to talk about how you can test your shipping prices in general. We're also going to talk about how you can test different thresholds for, if someone spends over $100, do they unlock free shipping? These are all things that you can and should be testing. So that's what the series is going to be. I hope this intro has given you just a little taste, got some gears turning already. But please make sure you follow the Tactical and Practical podcast wherever you get your pods, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or you can just follow me on Twitter and turn on post noties. I post all the full episodes there, and it'd mean the world to me if you sent this to someone who is currently running CRO or who's currently running your merchandising strategy. This is really going to help them over the coming weeks. So thank you so much for IntelliGems for partnering with me on this to make sure we are getting out the good word, the word that has allowed us to grow our business profitably and rapidly over the last couple of years. This is the most important stuff that I talk to marketers about. So stay tuned. I think this series is going to help a ton, and I'll see you on the first episode.